Welcome to the second part of this series in which we are discussing a little bit more details about differential equation. So in this part, those who have not watched the first part, I would request them to watch my first video on differential equation where we have spoken about the notation, the basics, the degree, all those things which are initially required for differential equation. So in this part of the video, we would just going to look a little bit more on the basics, obviously, touching base on certain important concepts of differential equation, the derivatives, and so on. So just to start with differential equation, so in case we take this kind of an equation, say for example, we'll take just a very basic differential equation. So if you write something like this, ax equals to dx by dt. So let me write something like this. So this would be ax equals to dx by dt, where you should notice that what we are doing is that this part which we have written, let me write it once more for you. So this part would be the time. This part would be the time. So what we are doing is that we are trying to find the derivative of x with respect to time. So we are trying to find the derivative with respect to time. Now just note that in here, this particular x, this x is not a variable. X is not a variable, it is a function of time. So this particular x that we have written over here, this particular x is not a variable. So I can call this as a function. This is a function of time. So let me write it. Yeah. So this would be a function of time. So x here is not a variable, it is a function of time. So function and its derivative. Here you get the function and the derivative both comes into the play in equation. So if I write it once more for you, so we write ax equals to dx by dt, right? So this is the function and this is the derivative. So x is a function, it is not just a variable. Remember, it's a very important point. Now if you want to solve more on this part, the function and derivative, we try to find out the function. And just mind it that once we are writing ordinary equations, say for example we get a basic algebraic equation, say x plus 4 equals to 10. Depending on this variable, what we can quickly find out is x equals to 6, 10 minus 4. But in case of a derivative, when we are trying to differentiate things, we are not trying to find out a typical one single value. I would say a basic single point that you get a value of that. Rather, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to find out a function. So ax equal to dx by dt, it is what we are trying to find. This is something we can call finding a value. So we are trying to find a value. This is something which we are trying to find, what is called a function. We are trying to function, right? Now I would like to demonstrate with a simple experiment of physics, which would help you to understand a little bit more about the concept of derivative. We all know Robert Hooke. I believe we all know about the event between Robert Hooke and Isaac Newton. So we will just try to demonstrate in this part. Say for example, we'll go forward with the Hooke's law, but what we will do is that, let me just give you a simple example. For example, this is a wall. This is a wall, right? And we have got a spring attached to this wall. So we got this, and then we got this thing. It's just a spring, right? And what we are trying to find out that when we are applying a force, this particular spring is moving in this direction, and this direction, this movement, we can call it as x. This movement we can call it at x. So remember one thing, if you have done it practically, when you pull the string this way, if you're pulling the string in this way, the string is also pulling you in this particular direction. So if you're applying a force over this part which is causing the displacement, there is also force which is happening in this part. This is nicely attached to the wall. So what I can say over here is Hooke's law. The Hooke's law states that F equals to minus k times x. So the Hooke's law states that f equals to minus k times x. Why it is minus k? The reason is that if you're pulling up a spring in this particular direction, the string is also moving and exerting a force which is in this direction. So that is why it is negative. So that is why it is called f equals to k minus x. Now in the same case, if you are putting around, okay, let me draw another example. Okay, fine. So what we do is that we will draw the same thing. Say this is a wall, but this time we will draw that this wall is attached to the floor. So this is the wall, right? Now this is attached to the floor, right? And the same spring we are applying. So this is going on and on and on. This is a nice spring, and I'm going to extend this further. Okay, and we have got a mass which is attached to this, and we call this as M, right? This is a mass which is attached to it, and this, when we are pulling this mass is pulling, it is moving at a further distance of x. This spring is pulling at a further distance of x. So what we find over here is that we know from the Hooke's law that force equals to minus k times x. That is the constant. So we can write it over here from the previous Hooke's law. We find f equals to minus k times x. Now because there is a mass over here, we can also use Newton's second law, which is the famous F equals to ma. Now we have got f equals to ma and we have got f equals to minus kx. So we can put therefore ma equals to minus kx. ma equals to minus k times x. Now what is ma? Acceleration, we know it is a second derivative of time, of position. I'm so sorry. So acceleration, let us find it out. I will just do a simple calculation with drawing a kind of a bar. We know it is dv by dt, right? And it is equal to, if we do it in this way, d times dx, and we get d times dx, and then we get dt times t, dt, and we get dt over here. So this comes to d squared x by dt squared. So that is why acceleration is the second derivative. So if acceleration is this derivative, then we can definitely put it like m d squared or d2x by dt squared equals to minus kx. We can put it as minus kx, right? So what we got over here is also a differential equation. What we got over here is also a differential equation. Remember that this one is, we are always trying to find out x, which is a function of time. X, this is again, I will just put it in a box. So this is also a differential equation, right? And we are all trying to find out x as a function of time. X is a function of time. Okay, so far so good. So now let us get into another example. We will use the same thing if f equals to ma, and we will rewrite this equation. We will rewrite this equation in order to find something else. So let us do it in this way. Okay, so we rewrite this equation. This is the most common example, so it would be easy. So we write f equals to ma. We know a equals to f by m, right? And we know acceleration equals to the second derivative d squared x by dt squared, right? And we can write, therefore we can write d squared x it would be d squared x by dt squared equals to f by m, equal to f by m. So in this particular differential equation, what you see that this part, that is f by m, this can be any number. This can be any number, whatever the force it is, like whatever the Newton amount that we apply, etc. So this can be a number. So this is we can further solve it, right? And this is what comprises of a differential equation. But remember that it is called an ordinary differential equation. That means no partial differential equation is involved in it. That means we are solving from one particular value and we are solving it for x. Now, say for example, we take this particular part. So now we are going to solve. I take an example, say d squared x by dt squared equals to 30. Right, and we are going to solve it out. So in order to solve it out, what I will do is that I will just integrate both these sides. I will just integrate both these sides. So derivative with respect to t. So we will solve with respect to t. So what we do is that we integrate, and what we get here is d squared x by dt squared, and we are solving in terms of t, so we have to write dt equals to, we have to do the same thing left hand side and right hand side, so we will get 30 dt. So we get 30 dt. Now solving further, what we can get is that this one, d squared x and dt squared, we take the integration of the second order. If we take the integration of second order, it is basic calculus. We know that it will be no longer it will be coming down to the lower order, that is the first order. So what we get over here is that we will just get dx by dt, and it would be equals to 30 t plus, obviously this would be a kind of a constant. So I would say put the constant as c1. Put this constant as c1. It is a good practice. It's a good practice in the sense that generally we name the constant just as c, but if we further differentiate and integrate, it is better that we have a proper kind of a naming convention. We have a proper naming convention. So it would be c1 and then we see c2. Now what we do is that on further integration, what we find is that if we integrate this part, what we get is dx dt with dt equals to, we do the same integration on the right hand side, we get 30 t plus c1 dt, right? Now solving for x, what we get is that if we do this one, we get the, so you now see what we will get, x, which is a function of time, so we put it in this way, equals to 30, then we will do that's t squared plus, this would be c1t plus you see c2. Because of this we have to put a constant, and that is the reason I told you that we should put it up as c1 and c2. So what we now get, if you rearrange this, we can write it as x of t plus, it will equals to 15, this would be by 2, so it would be 15t squared plus c1t plus c2, right? So let me rewrite this once more for you. Let me just rewrite it once more for you because this looks a little bit messy. So here we go. So solving, I'm not writing the previous integration part, so it would be something like this. So okay, so we do this one. See, we integrate the left hand side, dx dt equals to integration 30t plus c1 dt. Then on the next, what we get is that x of t, x is a function of time, we get 30 divided by 2 t squared plus c1 t plus c2. Now, and okay, and then on the second step, what we can write, x of t equals to 15 t squared plus c1 t plus c2. Now this is a clean neat one. Now you see that what we have found out here, this is what we call is a general solution. This is called a let me write it for you. It is called a general solution. General solution, what I mean by general solution is that we don't have this particular equation can yield up to infinite results. It can yield up to infinite results. That means this T1 and C1 and C2, it can happen to numerous other conditions. So, and you see that in general in physics, we never go for infinite solutions, infinite results. We want to be very specific, and we want to find out a specific point, a specific value. Now, when I'm trying to say you by the word general solution, what actually I mean by this is that, for example, I have got a ball, right? And I'm just releasing this ball, and it is falling on the ground, right? This is the ground. Right, and it is falling as usual at 9.8 meters per second square, which is the value of g. Right. Now in the second case, what we can do is this same ball, if it is released right on the ground, and if it is thrown with a further higher force, which is thrown at a further higher force, then it would be different conditions. Right. So there are different solutions, or it would yield up to different results, and that is what which we generally don't want in a kind of a physical description, in kind of a physics. So what we need to do, we need to find out an initial condition. That means we have to be given an initial condition like initial position and an initial velocity, and then we will once we calculate it, then it will be better. So let us solve it out with some specific conditions. So I mention specific conditions, right? So we have got some specific conditions which would be mentioned over here. So what are the specific conditions? Say for example, let me give you something like this. I give you we find that there is an initial position. So we find that initial, I write it this way, initial position, that is the whether it's a ball or something, that is x at 0, it's 0. It can be meter, right? So x at 0 is 0. So the initial position when the ball specifically it is there, it is 0. And we are also defining that initial velocity, the initial velocity at x0 equals to 1 meter per second, right? So this is the position, this is the velocity. These are the two conditions now which is given to us. Now let us use the same earlier equation, which is this one, and let us find out what is the how does it happen. So what we get initially therefore is that when we are taking this part, so we are getting x time, what is the equation? Yeah, x times t. So the position, the time is 0. So x times 0, it would be equal to 15t squared. Okay, so we put it as 15 0 squared plus we get the initial one as c1. So time is 0 because the position is 0. So we get c1 0 plus c2, right? This is c2, this one. So from the general solution, we are just substituting the values. Clear? Now this part and this part gets cancelled out. This part and this part gets cancelled out. So what we get from here equals to 0, and we can write therefore C2 equals to 0. C2 equals to 0. Right. Now for example we proceed with the next part of the equation where we have to find out a function of velocity. But as you see over here, we haven't find out, this is the function of time. But if you see previously, we have find out a solution with velocity. We find out of velocity. So what is that? This velocity, okay, let me write it for you. Okay, so we write it as x prime 2. So for this part, what we do, this would be x prime. Initial conditions, yeah. This is x prime. I'm so sorry. This is x0, this is x prime. So what we do is that we write x prime of t equals to, now in order to find out the derivative of this, because we need to find out a function of velocity, which we have already done. So what is that? This is this one we have already found out, 30t plus c1. So this one we already have. So from here what we will do is that we will substitute the values, and from x prime t we get to 30t plus c1, right? So let me write it for you. This actually comes, if I can just write it from here, this actually comes from this part, 30t plus c1 dt. So it comes from here, 30t plus c1 dt, right? This is actually where it comes from, right? So we put it up to this 30t plus c1, right? Now we solve it further. So we get x hash time is 0 equals to 30, again t is 0, so we put it as 0, plus what is c1? c1 equals to 1, right? So we put it as c1, and we know this c1, 30 times 0 is 0, c1 we know the value, so we have taken this c1. So what we get over here is that we get 1, right? So x hash x prime 0 equals 30 0 c1, and this is 1. So we found it the value. So c2 is 0 and c1 is 1. So you see over here from this part what we get is this initial position is 0, but initial velocity is 1. So we get up to 1. So now we can write it in the similar way. What we get, therefore c1 equals to 1. So we get another one, right? Now the specific, what is a specific solution? So let me rewrite it for you. So we get to xt plus 15, so sorry, it would be, okay, yeah, xt equals to 15t squared plus c1t plus c2, right? So we put it as x t equals to c 15t squared plus c1t. Why? Because c1 is 1. From here we can write, because c1 equals to 1, right? And in this case c2 equals to 0. c2 equals to 0, right? So from here what we can write is that x of t equals to 15t squared plus, this one is t, because this is 1 and this is 0. So now let me rewrite this again for you. This would, the specific solution would be, it would be x times t equals to 15t squared plus t. Now as you see that this is what we call as a specific solution. So why I showed you this, because in a general condition this could have yielded infinite results, but in a specific condition we get the first solution as c1 equals to 1. We get also C2 equals to 0 and we get C1 equals to 1, and the specific solution is this one, x of t 15t squared plus ct plus c2, right, this one. So this brings to the end of the end of our video, where I have actually shown you that in order to understand the derivative concepts, we can use this particular equation of force equals to ma, and previous to that also what we have found it is this, is that Hooke's law, how we can generally find by substituting Hooke's law F equals to ma. From that we can find out further derivation and we can solve this particular form into this, and from there what we can do is that a general solution which gives infinite results to a specific solution which gives you a specific result, and that is what we are generally looking through. I hope you like my video. So if you like this video, click the like button, turn on the bell notification, and if you have any questions about the video, if you can write down in the comment box. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I hope you enjoy your day. Thank you very much.